Planet Dolan. From being skinned alive by an evil Scarecrow to seeing your family get straight up murdered, the Planet Dolan crew reenacts some of the best true stories from our subreddit about our worst nightmares ever. I'm Danger Dolan, and today I will be your narrator. Number 10 was submitted by Morbus Akura. Hellbent's had his fair share of nightmares, but this one was so bad it made him want to sleep in his brother's room. In his dream, Hellbent and some friends went into a haunted maze on Halloween. They heard strange noises as they walked through a terrifying cornfield. When Hellbent turned to investigate, he saw a man running from a Scarecrow with a hook for a hand. The Scarecrow caught up to the man and skinned him alive. Hellbent ran towards a nearby house that smelled like cotton candy. When he got there, he discovered the room was full of people trapped in a cotton candy web. The web had been put there by a gang of murderous clowns, of course. These clowns captured Hellbent and put him inside a weird cocoon. They pointed their guns at him and started laughing like complete psychopaths. Hellbent woke up screaming, and in his bed was a huge wet patch. Was it sweat, piss, or cum? No one knows. Number 9 was submitted by TheLadySongBird. When Honeybit's parents divorced, she started having some strange ass dreams. One night she dreamt she was in an unfamiliar house looking for her mum. When she found her, her mum was crouched on all fours wearing a spiked collar. She had razor-sharp fangs and chased Honeybits up the stairs, barking at her as she went. Honeybits hid inside the nearest room and found Ginger, one of her friends from her old school. Ginger was standing there with her head bowed, not saying a word. She was holding a tray with a sheet over it. She slowly removed the sheet and revealed a shotgun. Ginger pointed the gun right at Honeybits. She screamed and tried to escape through a window, but something weird happened. The window and doors disappeared, leaving her trapped in an empty room with no way out. Honeybits then screamed and jolted herself awake. The creepy thing is, Honeybits had lots of memories of this Ginger girl, but her mum never knew anyone by that name. She claimed all these memories were just made up and just happened to intrude in her nightmares. So to this day it still freaks Honeybits out. Number 8 was submitted by Sailorsnowdragon. When Melissa was 10, she fell asleep watching TV. She didn't realize she was dreaming because the dream was set in the same place that she'd fallen asleep. Melissa felt something itchy on her leg. She looked down to scratch it and she saw a giant red fire ant that was over a foot tall. Melissa hates bugs, so the sight of its disgusting legs and feelers made her jump in terror. She ran into the kitchen, discovered the ants were everywhere. They were on the floor, on the walls, even on the counter. The dream was so realistic that when Melissa woke up, it took a long time before she was brave enough to go into her kitchen. Number 7 was submitted by FredBear 1987. When Pringle was younger, he spent a week home alone while his family were away. So one night he fell asleep and he had a nice relaxing dream about playing with his sister, but the dream soon took a dark and sinister turn when Pringle's sister had a heart attack and just dropped dead on the spot. Pringle was devastated, shouted for the rest of his family. His brother came in, saw the dead sister and collapsed out of grief. He pulled out a knife and literally stabbed himself to death. Pringle's mum and dad came in next. When they saw the two of the children laying dead there on the floor, they snapped. They pulled out a knife each and lunged at Pringle. Pringle ducked and they stabbed each other by mistake. Pringle woke up, his sheets were soaked and he could not stop crying. Number 6 was submitted by ScapeOfMind52. On the night of his birthday party, Tolop fell asleep on the couch and dreamt about playing Xbox. In his dream, he received some Xbox messages from a random girl. He'd never talked to this girl before, but she acted like she was his girlfriend. She said things like,
"I love you,"
and
"I want to play with you."
Tolop ignored these and started playing a game. A few minutes later, an angry ballerina in a red dress appeared on screen. She screamed and punched the screen, making it go black. And Tolop knew this was not a normal part of the game. Thinking it was a glitch, he went to turn off the console and he was suddenly spammed with scary warnings from the girl. The ballerina's face flashed on screen, followed by terrifying snippets of some random horror games. Tolop was so scared he ripped the power cord from his Xbox. The TV screamed like it was in pain, and Tolop heard the girl whisper,
"Balloons."
When he woke up, the first thing he saw was a red balloon from his party floating creepily next to him. Number 5 was submitted by To Epic Ducky. One time Ramona had one of the most common dreams ever. She dreamt that she had floated up off the ground and was flying among the clouds. You might think, hey, that doesn't sound like a nightmare. Sounds like fun. But after 10 seconds of enjoying herself, she suddenly remembered that she is incredibly afraid of heights. She realized that humans weren't meant to be hundreds of feet in the air and that she could plummet to her death at any moment. As her flying abilities faded, Ramona screamed and screamed. The beautiful blue sky around her suddenly turned dark. She woke up seconds before she crashed into disgusting dirty water. Her heart was pounding, but she was very glad to have 2 feet firmly on the ground. Number 4 was submitted by EnderKittyMeowMeow. When Gooby was little, she had the same terrible nightmare every night. In the dark, she'd open her eyes to see a giant knight in a thick suit of armor. The knight would stand there completely still, just watching her sleep for the entire night. Gooby could never fall asleep after she noticed him because she was terrified he would do something. When morning came, sunlight poured into Gooby's room. Gooby then saw the knight had been hiding a giant axe that had skulls engraved on its blade. Gooby screamed as the knight lifted the axe up and tried to kill her with it. She'd roll out of bed and wake up in terror on the floor. Because this nightmare happened every night, Gooby never got enough sleep and had permanent bags under her eyes. Number 3 was submitted by Solid Squid 664. When Spinal Palm was little, he killed a fly and felt extremely guilty about it. He was so guilty that later that night he had a dream where he was the fly. In the dream, Spinal Palm got to feel what it was like to be crushed by a giant angry human. He flew from room to room in terror while dodging a giant fly swatter. Spinal Palm tried to escape out a window but ended up flying straight to the glass. The human then sprayed bug spray all over the room, causing Spinal Palm to slowly choke to death. Spinal Palm still has this dream from time to time. It's definitely made him think twice about killing bugs. Number 2 was submitted by GrizlyShrimp. When Emoji was 8 years old, he dreamt his room was slowly filling with this strange purple water. In the water, doing laps were a bunch of terrifying black crocodiles. They had red eyes, razor-sharp spikes, and they were trying to climb a ladder to Emoji's bunk bed. As the water got higher and higher, dozens of the crocodile creatures started chanting, like they were taunting Emoji to jump in. Eventually, Emoji was left with no choice. He had to dive in to escape being crushed. When he hit the water, the crocodiles pounced on him, dragging him under, ripping open his stomach. When Emoji woke up, he was shivering, covered in sweat. To this day, he's still not a fan of crocodiles, especially not black ones with evil red eyes. Number 1 was submitted by me. What's the worst nightmare I've ever had? Well, when I was younger, I had this recurring, horrifying dream that there's this little area in my primary school. It's called the undercover area, where you kind of just chill out with your mates. It's not really much there, just a few seats and stuff. It was nicely painted, all the walls and stuff. But anyway, regardless, I had a dream that I was there. It was nighttime. I was all alone. No one from school, just utter silence, except for this one figure. It was like Dracula or a vampire or just this guy in this cloak, and he had the same kind of big evil teeth, and he looked menacing and stuff. And he would just kind of stand there and just silently judge me while I kind of walked around. I knew in my head it was a dream. I was thinking, okay, I'm in this stupid dream again. I don't know what to do. And every single time, without fail, in order to escape the dream that I knew was a dream, I would have to kill myself in several violent ways. I would grab a sword and cut open my stomach, and then I'd wake up. I would climb to the top of the undercover area and then jump off onto a pit of spikes. And as soon as I hit it, I'd feel incredible pain. I'd wake up. I remember one time I had to rip off my nutsack. And that was apparently painful enough to wake me up, so that gives you an idea. It was so annoying, it happened like every night for years and years, but, well, after a while it did go away and I haven't had it since. Although, just as a little bonus, I did have a dream last night. It was one where in my city, that apparently I kept running from all these gangs that were shooting guns, and every time I turn a corner there's another gang, and I was constantly dodging bullets and everyone was screaming and running. And then I got home and I turned on the news and it said it was happening all over the city and that there's no escape, and they're thinking about setting up like a little colony over like, I don't know, 20 minutes away, like just abandon the city to all these gangs. And I was like in tears about it, and I said to Gooby, oh god, we're gonna have to move because we're gonna die soon and all that. And also in that dream, apparently Gooby's sister was dead. I don't know why, but it was just a horrifying dream. I don't have very nice dreams, apparently. It's crap. Sometimes I hate going to sleep. Most of the time I don't dream about anything, but god damn it. My fucking brain. That's all. Huge thanks to folks over at Planet Dolan subreddit for submitting their stories and letting me relive my horrifying nightmares. We have another question for you. What was the worst babysitter you ever had? Let us know on the Reddit page linked below and you might be featured in a future countdown. That's it for this video and have a good one!